We are ready to start the second session of the day, which is in plan, at least, more focused on Turkish experience in Romania. And we have on the agenda 5 names. One of the speakers is still on her way from the airport to the hotel. But we will start, however, and as soon as Elena Popescu will join us in the room, we will give her the microphone. The plan is also to have a questioning session at the end, after the presentations. And I think that we will extend the period of time so that we can address all the questions you have to the people on the stage or here in the room. So, thank you very much once again for being here, and especially I'm thinking now to the speakers. I invite them to join me here on the stage. Cătălin Breabăn, co-founder of Aukera, Romania. Mehmet Yukselen, President and CEO of MyEnerji. Please join me on the stage and choose a chair of your preference. Mr. Oguzhan Kurt, Managing Partner, Likata Energy. Thank you. Please join me here. And Bekir Sami, Acar, Managing Director, Claritas Investment. Thank you, all of you gentlemen, for accepting our invitation and for contributing to this conversation here today. As I told earlier, Elena Popescu will join us hopefully very soon. I will just I will recapitulate the format of the conversation, of the discussion. Each of you will have an initial intervention of up to 7-8 minutes, and then questions from myself or from our friends in the audience. I suggest we keep with the lineup order we already published online, and I will now give the floor to Mr. Cătălin Breabăn, co-founder of Aukera, Romania. We had the pleasure to have a conversation 2 months ago, maybe a little bit less, in London, in a pretty much a similar format. I think different themes, because in the UK, most of the topics were related to digitalization, data centers, and how we can use energy in order to support this type of involvement. I'm curious, and I think it is also useful for our friends here to say a couple of words about the company, about the projects, and about your interest in Turkey. Please, the mic is yours.
Thank you.
It should be open already, yes.
Thank you very much for being invited again on one of your conferences. I see this a big audience and lots of interest from Turkish companies about investing in Romania or doing EPC work in Romania. So just a brief introduction. Cătălin Breabăn, co-founder of Aukera. We are an IPP developing, building and operating in 5 countries. Romania is a key country for us, alongside the UK, Belgium, Germany and Italy. We have 15 gigawatts of projects in terms of pipeline. We are building around 800 to a gigawatt every year. We started construction last year. Until then, we've been in development. So last year was the first test of putting projects into construction in all countries, including Romania. We're building mainly solar and BESS. I would say standalone BESS is our biggest market. I would say 70% of what we build is around standalone batteries. In Romania, we have 3.5 gigawatts of ready-to-build or soon-to-be ready-to-build projects. It's a very mature pipeline, very large projects. We are building about 1 gigawatt of standalone batteries in Romania. The first 250 is already times 2 hours is in construction. some of the other projects. We have a few other projects that will reach financial close later this year. Besides that, we have 3 ready-to-build wind projects with CFDs, and we have a solar project as well. Why are we here? I mean, happy to meet partners, potential partners, investors. I would say in Romania we probably have been more successful. So we want to build a gigawatt plus in every market. I would say probably in Romania we have a bit more than that. So we would probably be looking for partners as well in some of our projects. But also we're already working, to be honest, with a Turkish company producing transformers across, I mean, both in Romania, Germany, and other markets. So we're very happy with this experience. So we're happy to work with Turkish manufacturers, with Turkish EPC companies, as well as with Turkish investors. So that's why we're here.
Thank you. Thank you. And it's very interesting that this is one of the themes that I hadn't had enough time in the first session to develop this part of the specific needs in the Romanian market, which is something quite new. For 2 years already, the demand for technology, products, equipment for medium and high voltage in Romania has boomed. It was not the case for many decades. And this is one specific area where Turkish partners can be of very much help. So I'm very happy to develop this a little bit more. Thank you. I'll not give the floor to Mehmet, Yukselen, President and CEO of MyEnerji. Once again, one of the speakers in London 2 months ago. The same question, why are you here in Turkey? No, not necessarily. Please tell us a few words about your experience in Romania for your friends in Turkey.
Okay.
It should be, yeah.
Thank you very much, Gabriel, again inviting me after London here in Istanbul, in my hometown. Do you want me to talk a little bit about ourselves as well?
Please,
our experience?
yes.
Okay. So basically, we are a Turkish company. We are investor in Turkey. We do have our own solar PV parks in Turkey, small size, 15 megawatt. We are an EPC in the Turkish market. We are building every year 50 to 100 megawatt of rooftop plus land-grounded PV projects. And we are as well have a trading asset management company dealing and selling electricity to the end consumer. Our journey actually started 3 years ago. In year 2023, I wanted to go to Europe with a bold idea of, at least for me, bold idea, at that time, 2 gigawatt platform in 5 years. And when I looked around, I see a couple of Turkish companies going back and forth. Romania, I looked to the Balkans, and as a result, in the Balkans, I see Romania as one of the comparably most interesting country in the Balkan area. So the idea was to do 1,000 megawatt platform in Romania, another 1,000 megawatt Italy, USA, Canada, and in 5 years we thought it would be a good idea to do a 250 megawatt COD project in this region, another 1,750 megawatt as a pipeline. When I look back, actually, at that time I was calling this slide a dream. But apparently after a couple of years, it's not a dream. Actually, I could be more bold in my numbers. So as a result, on the right-hand side, we bought 3 projects. Actually, one of them is in Volcea. The other one is close to the Hungarian border. They are like projects of 5 to 10 megawatt each. And we are doing as well. At that time, it was only PV projects, but we are right now upgrading all these projects with battery-based solution. The first project actually we started to build end of 2024. 2025 July we were operational, COD. This is the picture of that power project. So as a owner and builder of this project, actually I have been through all the stages, buying from a developer the project, going through the some of the leftover permitting process, because everybody who sells a project, they always say it's RTB. But when you go there, you know, or soon to RTB, your expectation is you're gonna go there and build next day. No, it doesn't work that way. So you need to go through all the stages. Then actually building the project is okay, quite doable. Then the next stage is, compared to the Turkish environment, is energizing the projects, putting it into the market and selling the electricity, looking for an asset management company, and to see, you know, what kind of a prices you will be getting. I will come to the price in a minute. Our pipeline right now, our portfolio, hopefully in 3 years' time until 2028, we will be building for our own company 140 megawatt of PV projects. And we are aiming of 375 megawatt hours of battery-based projects. Currently, since 6 months, actually, friends of ours came to me, you know, Mehmet, you are doing all these projects, can you help us? You know, do you have a projects? Actually, for the third parties, we started as well to develop or to buy, actually, to buy and build projects. So we have a pipeline of the third parties, around 170 megawatt already sold projects with close to 200 megawatt of BESS. So other than our 3 projects, we are right now evaluating 12 projects, DD projects. We are right now, probably we will buy most of them. They are good projects, at least the first indications. So at the end of the year's third quarter, maybe we will be starting as well another building of this project, 2 or 3 of them. They are all over the Romania. You know, they are in Cluj, they are in the Arad area. There are some of them, 1 or 2 of them is close to the Bucharest. So we will be very much heavily investing in the Romanian market. So the question is, why Romania? Actually, there are 4 or 5 reasons for that. First of all, attractive IRRs. If you look to the PV projects, you know, as an entrepreneur, I'm looking of a payback of 8 to 10 years. Assume that it's 9 years. It's like 10 to 12% project IRRs that we are looking for. If you put a BESS on top of that, our expectation actually goes up. It's doable that we get 15 to 20% IRRs if you have a co-located BESS. It's a high renewable market, so there's lots of activity, there's lots of projects. The reason why it's a 60 terawatt hours market, the Romanian market, unfortunately it's flat because their industry doesn't grow that much, Romania. However, two things are facing the market. The first one is the coal will be phased out in the next couple of years. So there is like, right now, if I divide it, it's like 50% of this 60 terawatts is fossil fuels. So out of this fossil fuels, around 3,000 megawatt coal will be, in the next couple of years, will be going to zero, which gives a lot of opportunity to the PV and wind. However, when there is PV and wind, that much amount, which means you need as well a stability with kind of a battery solution station. The second thing is it's a very interconnected country, as well in the direction of Moldova and Ukraine. as well into the direction of Hungary. So my expectation when I was doing all these investments was that next to the coal phase out and nuclear maintenance program, there will be lots of opportunity selling that electricity into the direction of Europe. Still, being on the southeast of Europe, the prices are high into the direction of Italy, Hungary, and I think that's the best value or return for your money, given that, you know, if you do the same kind of power plant in Germany or Netherlands, comparably you get much, much better returns. So, little bit more data. Actually, this is on a yearly and monthly basis, the average prices of, in euro, the electricity price in Romania. And you see, when you look to this graph, you see until 2021, a price range around 40 to 50 euros. But something's happened after 2021. I say more liberalization, as well in year 2022, effect of the Ukrainian war. So we are right now in a world in the Romanian market. These are the arithmetic average of the prices, around 100 euro kind of a stuff. Of course, when we look to these prices, we don't take these prices. The solar capture of these prices, you need to look like, depending on the year, 10 to 20% lower than the average prices. So when we look at them, we look to the solar capture. And I give you a little bit in terms of price volatility compared to the Turkish market. We do see in the Romanian market negative prices. If you look, this is like an excerpt of 1 week from the September 2025, 1 to 7. I would like to look to the Saturday and Sunday prices. Around noontime, you see zeros and minus prices. And actually, if you look the third column, which is the average price of the week, so you see actually in that week, you can buy, let's say you have a 4 hours battery, you can buy for around 30 to 40 euros from the market and sell it in the afternoon or late evening hours between 19 o'clock to 23, around 200 euros or 180. So there is a delta of 150 euros in all this thing, which I would like, you know, simplify for the case for the battery, why we are as well building lots of batteries next to our PV power plants. I'm not going to go too much to these slides, but actually I would like only to tell, although the ATR pipeline is very much, you know, overcrowded, it's like 80 gigawatts. We have seen in the first session as well, it will only what is going to be realized will be maybe 5 to 10% of these 80 gigawatts. So, and I am talking about this when we are talking 80 gigawatts, so it will be between 5 to 8 gigawatts in the next 3-4 years. So every year 2 to 4 gigawatts of new capacity will be coming online. There are big players, but the name of the game here is as well being agile. If you go like a big project, 200, 300 megawatt, we are talking at least 2-3 years in terms of coming in line. But in my case, you know, if we are talking around the 5 to 10 projects, 10 megawatt projects, you are more like in a 6 months to a 12 months period. So I am trying actually to capture that time frame for the next 2-3 years in terms of PV and BESS. And of course, we are going as well with our potential investors more into the direction as well, 50 to 100 megawatt kind of a projects as well. So with this, I think I would like to stop for the moment why I am in Romania and why I am doing this project.
Thank you, Mehmet Bey, for this very interesting, very comprehensive, many ideas presentation, and also very candid in many respects. You talked a lot and very in detail about your operations. I think and very provocative also, because some of the numbers that I think that would raise some eyebrows in terms of, I don't know, capture price, for example, or duration for execution of some projects and so on. But this is interesting because this is your perspective. It would be interesting to compare it with yours, for example. So thank you very much. I will now move to Oguzhan Kurt, managing partner Likata Energy. You are one of the two speakers today whom I never met before, so I'm very excited and thank you very much. It would be an exploratory conversation for me too, along with our friends in the audience. So Likata Energy, I understand, is a Turkish company operating also already in Romania. Starting from here, please.
Yeah, thank you. It's a really privilege to be here with so many experienced speakers. I had so many insights. Thank you for inviting me in a short distance invitation. And I'm Oguzhan Kurt. I'm managing partner of Likata Energy. So I have a civil engineering background. We have a Likata, Turkish company in Turkey. It's a construction company with an experience of 25 years. And I also had my master's degree in finance and construction management at the same time. So what we do is in Likata Energy is...
no, I think this is the one.
Yeah, so.
Please.
So what we do in Likata Energy is we develop solar projects and BESS projects from day zero. And also we have a ready-to-build project portfolio. And also we do the EPC parts of these projects. And whenever I want to start with a different, like a common question I get from Turkish investors that I meet with in Turkey, they usually, when I talk about them a solar potential and investment in Romania, they ask me that, is there a mafia there? Is there a corruption there? Is there a, how do you save your money from these kind of people? And whenever you go to Romania, you see different perspective. There is nothing like that in Romania, because when you look at the Global Peace Index, they are the 38th most peaceful country in the world, and they are so much doing better than France, Greece, and even United Kingdom. Also, after the peace index, when you look at the foreign direct investment going into Romania, Turkey is the second largest investor in Romania right now. And approximately $75 billion is going to Romania every year now. We are, as Turkey, we are the second largest investor after Germany. So when you look at these facts and numbers, you can understand that the serious capital, the serious investors are going to structured and reliable markets. So what about the other Turkish investors that still not going into Romanian market? Because I think there is an opinion of, besides this, the thing I have mentioned, there is Turkish people and Romanian people have so many things in common. We like looking each other in the eye, we like having conversations over tea. But the thing is, Romania is zero flexibility. But Turkish people have so much flexibility. We like doing the paperwork later. We like doing the work first, then going to do the paperwork later. We like entrepreneurship. We like agility and stuff like that. So because of this high flexibility and zero flexibility mixture, we in this company Likata, we look like, as I'm Turkish guy here, you look like we are like a Turkish company, but in our company I'm the only Turkish guy besides Mr. Fatih Çakır, and Mr. Fatih Çakır is also he has been living in Romania for 25 years, so he's a citizenship there, and so we have got like 4 Romanian energy lawyers, 3 engineers in our company, and 2 financial advisors, and 1 EU fund specialized engineer. So all of them are born into this sector. They have been born in Romania, and they know the structure. They have this kind of working style in their DNA. So we just want to make sure that our investors they build megawatts. They don't want them to build expensive lessons in Romania. So in every project we develop, we prioritize regulatory compliance, grid connection security, the bankability and due diligence of these projects, the EU fund eligibility. Some of the projects have EU fund eligibility, some of them doesn't have. It doesn't mean that they don't have the capacity to be like the good IRR, and it needs to be a good procurement quality in terms of EPC. And from the financial side, they need to be IRR optimized with best integration and CFD revenue certainty. For the results that we have, like we in just last 2 years, we have some of them we just sold from ready-to-build projects. Some of them we have developed from the day zero. 32 solar projects has been developed. It's total of 182 megawatts, 200 megawatt hour best capacity, and it's approximately 200 million euro of project value. So we are trying to be the middle guy between the agile, fast-moving, and risk-averse Turkish people, and the bureaucracy and the EU-funded Europe country, Romania. That's why we are trying to build the infrastructure in Romania like this, and we are trying to be that corridor. Thank you so much for listening. If you have any questions, I would be happy to answer.
Thank you, Oguzhan. Very interesting. And when I saw the previous to last slide, what do we prioritize? I thought, okay, you'll never find a project like that. But I understand that you found some and sold them. So we should discuss a little bit more about it. I now give the floor to Bekir Sami Acar, Managing Director with Claritas Investment. Please, sir.
Thank you and good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be back to Istanbul. So I am the founder of Claritas Investments. My background is from Gezan Power. I used to work for utilities, trading, grid companies in the past, and since 2017, I'm exclusively working in renewables. So Claritas, it's a Dutch company. We have European investors, and we are active mostly in the CEE markets. Poland is our core market, Romania and Greece. And we have total 2 gigawatt PV and more than 3 gigawatt hour battery pipeline. So our experience in Romania, I think we started 4 years ago. We were not the first movers, but I think we were, it was start of the second wave of renewables. And so far we developed more than 600 megawatt projects. We sold some of them. And currently we are in we have a mature portfolio of around 500 megawatt PV plus co-located battery. And last year we managed to cover part of our output under the CFD contracts. So our projects were awarded with CFD. And these are the projects we developed from Greenfield. We did everything from origination, permitting, and all the works. So typically we invest in early stage. We take the development risk. We try to manage it. Most of the time successful or medium successful, but development is a difficult thing, especially in these days. So we create projects, investable projects, and then we hand it over to the long-term investors because this is infrastructure, this is long-term capital, and we like to use our equity in more, let's say, our equity profile requires higher returns, so that's why we exit when the time comes. So this is what we have done so far, and our focus right now is flexibility, like most of the renewable developers. We are currently working on a large battery pipeline, standalone and co-located, and there we want to pursue a more long strategy. We want to hold our assets, and we are already building our first standalone battery project in Poland. In Romania, once we see what's happening in other markets, we quickly hybridized our projects. We add battery, so we secured grid capacity for a large co-located battery. So yeah, that's who we are, what we have done so far, and yeah. A couple of words about Romania. We like Romania very much. It has strong fundamentals. It has a diversified industry. So the demand is there. And the energy mix is also going through some significant changes. Coal is going out. There are new gas capacities, flexible gas capacities coming online. So there are a lot of movements. And we see Romania as one of the few places where you can build scale still. It is very difficult to achieve large projects anywhere in Europe. But in Romania, there is still, we have seen the project pipeline. There are gigawatts of projects. But the value is now more, it's moving to project execution and asset optimization. So the time of development is almost over. There are plenty of projects to pick up. So yeah, that's our market view is now the value is for proper project execution and then later on asset optimization. And yeah, that's my take for Romania. I don't necessarily subscribe into the stereotypes of my former speaker. Yeah, Romania is, we have so far very positive experience in Romania. The regulations is catching up, but yeah, that's, I think you can't blame the government too much. It is everywhere in Europe. The decision makers, policy makers are simply that they are late everywhere. So you see the same problems in all over Europe. So they are trying to bring some discipline to the market. There are new regulations entering into force. There are these new draft legislations which will also make a significant impact. So yeah, it is all about now, I think the opportunistic time is over. Now it is all about long-term play. You should have a long-term view and you should build patiently a long-term position. And at the time of this high volatility, which we are in right now, and there is no sign that this will be better anytime soon, I think adding flexibility to any of the projects, PV wind, that's, I think, essential, not only as a defense play, but also for capturing additional upside. So, yeah, these are what I can share so far, and if there are any questions, happy.
Thank you very much. And we are officially already in the debate and conversation mode now. Our fifth speaker, Elena Popescu, is still on her way to the hotel, I'm told. Thank you to my colleagues for sharing with me. She will be here around 2:30, so most probably I will invite her to the podium to tell us a few words. We will have a conversation starting now. A short summary, we have two gentlemen active in the big projects area, especially, and two others with rather medium-sized projects in Romania. I suppose the conversation splits a little bit in this respect. I will open the floor immediately. I have one question for, especially for the last speaker, for Mr. Acar. Do you have still projects on your pipeline on early stage? You are working on in order to bring them to ready to build stage, or this is not a priority at the moment?
So
Or you don't see any horizon for such projects at the moment?
we don't have any more early stage PV in Romania. We are not only in Romania, we are not doing any more PV anywhere. So we are developing BESS. In Romania, we have been looking into wind development, but there has been some substantial changes. They introduced new grid regime. Now we have this new draft legislation that also comes with another timeline. So we are still trying to wrap our heads around how this can play out. But our next probably development will be a wind development. For BESS, I think we may do some M&A because it doesn't make sense to start again from greenfield BESS development. There are plenty of projects in the market. But wind it's a 10 years play, so that will be probably our next venture. But for now, we are focused on our PV and hybrid portfolio, and we are trying to bring it over the finish line. And the plan is to get to a financial close with an investor end of this year. It is a 550 megawatt project with 4 hours battery. We have contracted revenues. We are well advanced also in financing discussions, both equity and debt. So that's our main focus in these days.
Thank you. I have another question for Cătălin, Breabăn. Please prepare your questions. The microphone will be available immediately. The big difference between large projects and medium-sized projects is the time frame needed for their development and preparations. My question is, was there any chance? Have you anticipated the evolution that we are now considered normal? Everybody wants BESS. BESS is the solution needed for the grid. It can become too late for a large project to incorporate this kind of solutions? And I'm not thinking only on having some batteries on the same grid connection, but also having the VMS system and all the rest in order to put the megawatt hours into market.
Good question. I'm Romanian, but I live in London for some time. In fact, my first entrepreneurial venture was in the UK, where I built a wind portfolio and then sold once it was operational to an Asian utility. And the UK has been the first market where batteries started to operate at scale, and that was 10 years ago. There's no other market in Europe that has such a lengthy experience. Not Germany, not Poland, not Romania, not France. All continental Europe started battery development a few years ago, and the operational experience is very recent. This means that nobody has seen the problems of BESS, has seen only the profits on paper, and the upsides that are being promised, but have not seen, let's say, the ups and downs as well. In the UK, the market started with a 30-minute system and then was augmented to a 1 hour and then to 2 hours. And now we're talking about 4-hour systems as well. But going through, and doing this even retroactively to projects is not easy. And, you can see the problems evolving and how the solutions are evolving as well. But very few people in Europe have this experience. We're lucky to, because we have a big part of our central team is in London, and we We have some of the early pioneers in batteries in the UK working with us. So we started development of batteries early across all markets, including Romania. So when it came to starting the construction, I agree with what some of the co-speakers said, that it's all about execution now. Yes, it's true. I think development, I mean, it's not easy anywhere, but Romania is not really particularly difficult either. But execution is important. Our first battery project in Romania, we got to, and it's a 250 megawatt battery. We got to ready to build in July last year. In November, we were at financial close, so 3.5 months. And it's going to be COD June. I mean, this is unheard of. I mean, it's a very, I mean, there's no other country in Europe where we've managed to do this speed. Yes, we have ordered some of the long lead items. We've managed a bit the timelines. But again, it's all about being able to finance the projects, being able to build them on time, having the expertise, and having the expertise also convinces the banks, by the way. I think there's many players interested to get into the space. But again, and the banks want exposure as well. I mean, they have a lot of exposure to negative pricing on the solar side. So they definitely want to balance that. But they want to work with credible players that can demonstrate they know what they're doing. We had quite recently an interesting discussion with the bank saying, our risk committee is saying no, because they're cautious, but our board says yes, so we're going to do it. It's interesting, but it's a true story. So again, there is lots of interest. I think the key point is being credible on the execution side, being able to demonstrate track record in building, financing, operating batteries, and that's going to differentiate winners. And to be honest, having the capital, again, we see it from the proof of funds. We see it from simply movement on the. Yeah, I mean, you still make good money when you build these projects, basically. So I think it's worth putting capital at risk in construction, building, operating these projects, and getting the returns.
Thank you. We open the conversation to the floor, and I saw you. The microphone will be there with you immediately. Varinia, I would kindly ask you to join us on the stage. I saw during the break that there were many people around you with many questions, and I also count on your question as well for our friends here on the stage and on your answers to our friends in the audience. So, thank you very much. The microphone is with you.
Thank you. I think.
Please.
I've got one here. Yeah, thank you. So I think I hopefully bring a bit of diversity to our all male panel here, and my perspective from having worked in the energy sector for 25 years in all the subsectors, from oil and gas to nuclear trading, large infrastructure, and obviously more recently, for the past 6-7 years, quite a lot of renewables. And I think you probably have a lot of questions, and a lot has been said, and I hope it was extremely useful to hear all of these perspectives for what does it mean, a country entry into Romania for a newcomer. I think we have live examples here of the ability to execute in fairly short amount of time, complex projects. As a lawyer, I coordinate our energy practice at CMS in Romania, but also in the region, and the CE region, Central Eastern Europe, and I can say that compared to other jurisdictions, Romania is fairly easy to navigate. In terms, I would say few advantages are quite an attractive tax regime compared to other places and less restrictive. Well, okay, lately the government is obviously under big budgetary stress, but generally it's one of the good tax regimes and non-restrictive in terms of recovering dividends. In terms of the regulatory and legal regime, we are very much aligned with the EU market and EU energy market framework, and we've transposed all of the directives. So if you're familiar with other jurisdictions, Romania is quite aligned, and our regulator, ANRE, has been proved to be, let's say, true to the European core market values and a trustworthy counterpart. As it was said, as a general trend, it's a natural transition from the market from a more speculative environment, with a lot of projects where you would see through all of these and end up with maybe 10% execution, but it's just normal. And also in the solar space, obviously the trend of co-located batteries is absolutely a justified need, because more negative prices in the system witnessed also due to the unexpected high involvement of the prosumers, who have installed over 2 gigawatts and expected to install more. So prosumers also because of the support schemes. Also, Romania had quite a lot of and we've talked about this, quite a lot of support with grants. Grant funding from EU for only the modernization fund was between 14 and 15 billion, if not more. The Recovery and Resilience Fund, and we still have few programs. So we currently announced another support scheme, CAPEX support for standalone batteries, which is going to be a maximum 100,000 euro per megawatt support. Under an auction regime, it may end up to a discount of maybe 70%, 80% of that, but still it's something that may make a difference for the newcomers. We had successfully implemented the contracts for different scheme for almost 5 gigawatts of onshore solar and wind. We're also looking to provide a similar support for offshore wind. There's a minimum of 3 gigawatts committed to be developed, and this year the legislation will be finalized with the announcement of the offshore perimeters and details on the support scheme and the auctions. Another opportunity I wanted to say is that, since you heard the natural trend of the market is to go into the execution phase, we have a lot of projects and maybe not enough supply chain. So there's a huge opportunity to enter the market for execution for works, any kind of works. Of course, EPCs and everything that comes underneath that. It's a huge need in the Romanian market, and also equipment manufacturers. You may be familiar with the EU changes in the sentiment of including Chinese technologies for both wind. There's an ongoing investigation on a large turbine manufacturer under the foreign direct investment rules. That will take a while, but already the banks started to be a little bit cautious on financing Chinese technologies, likewise on the solar panels and other components. So anything that you can supply that is a field which will be replaced by something else, it's difficult to say what else, because China has over 90% of the market, but that's something for you to consider. On a little bit few other opportunities, a little bit off topic from the renewables, I would say you probably know Romania has a well-established nuclear industry, and we have a very large nuclear program to build 2 new nuclear reactors, and with Canadian technology. We are refurbishing the first Chernobyl 1 reactor and implementing SMRs. And what I think it was mentioned before by Mr. Mehmet initially, that all of that supply chain, hundreds of subcontractors and suppliers will come very soon. And I think that's a space where Turkish companies can provide a lot of solutions, as well as, I think, large infrastructure. We have a lot of EU funds also for municipal infrastructure and rehabilitation of the power plants. I know that some of the Turkish companies already expressed interest or participated in some of these tenders. We have about 40, if not more, such old power plants that need rehabilitation or converting from coal to gas, or any sorts of power solutions in this respect. So again, that's something a space you can follow. And trading, I would say, and I think we have with us today the Traders Association. Trading is a big topic nowadays. Not just now, but since the Ukraine war, the entire paradigm in terms of the trading has shifted in the region, on gas especially. We have a lot of gas coming from Turkey and from Southern Europe, as well as the LNG, and a lot coming from the north. So we're not getting anything from the east to west, but rather north and south toward Central Eastern Europe. And again, lots of trading opportunities and transit. So have a look, and obviously we're happy to help if you need any more information. And just generally, I would say, if you have any questions, happy to answer as much as we can today. And separately, if you want, please do come and talk to me during the break. Any of these sort of country entry barriers, I think apparent barriers, they can be successfully overpassed with the right, let's say, information and support locally. As you can see, we have a lot of amazing success cases and consolidation of portfolios in the last 5-6 years.
Thank you, Varinia, for this additional set of opportunities on the Romanian energy market. I think that we are in the position, by just transcribing the conversation today and a little bit of editing, to have a small book about why Romania is a place to go, a place to be, a place to invest in the near future in energy. We have a gentleman interested in addressing us, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Moiz Meseri. I am the owner of Meseri Energy. First of all, I would like to thank all the attendees for their contribution today. And with all respect, I would like to extend my question to Mr. Breabăn, because it makes me feel like you've got the proper experience and information to my concerns. First of all, how would you define a perfect best execution? From the point of delivery, installation, and commissioning. And would you please consider the preparation of proper RFQs in order to achieve perfect best installations? The other point is about your experience in UK. You told me that UK has the oldest European track record of almost 10 years regarding best installations. And now, I mean, do we have any kind of reports, or I would say resolutions on the eligibility of the battery performances in accordance with the submittals at the beginning of the contracts, especially when the warranty periods just turned out to become, let's say, resolved. What is the current situation? I mean, are there bells ringing, or did truly that track record in UK proved out that so far preferred batteries and their technologies proved to be reliable enough? Thank you very much.
Thank you for the question. Please.
Yeah.
All good questions. In terms of evolution of the technology, I would say that there has been a lot of improvements in that technology over the past 10 years. So I would say that while we have seen issues in the UK over this past 10 years, and batteries have not always performed as they should, I would say that the technology has significantly evolved. Also, you already have some, I would say, well-established tier 1, even tier 2 companies that have strong balance sheets. So I would say that one of the important things is the procurement, and I would say not getting super greedy on finding the cheapest, absolute cheapest battery that might not have the balance sheet behind for the warranties. I would say all of the big suppliers these days, I mean, they have solid products. I mean, one needs to check their eligibility in Romania. I mean, whether they are certified by Transelectrica or not, and so on. But I would say the big ones will be. The big ones will also provide the warranties, and I would say every player, you can go to quite lengthy warranty periods. Our own view is that beyond the sort of 10, 12 years is probably not necessarily worth it. I mean, you can get longer than that. But then I think that then there is the repowering strategy that each player should make, and I would say we're more of the opinion that a little bit shorter is better. In terms so working with a tier 1 company or tier 2 that has a strong enough balance sheet is a key point, and we do get this question sometimes even from the banks. Some of the banks or funders come to ask, we have this other party working, trying to put a BESS. What do you think about this company? And we say, look, the answer is simple. Does that company have a balance sheet to stand behind their obligations or not? And I mean, it's back to basics. In terms of the construction itself, I would say that
Sorry, just one moment. If you can give us a piece of information additionally, is there any rule of thumb, or how can we discount the promised IRR of a BESS system based on the actual history of operating such systems for 10 years in the UK? Because the widespread sentiment is that in actual operation, they are not that efficient as they are promised when we buy them.
I mean, the models can get complicated very quickly. There is how the battery itself operates versus the promise. Then there is how the saturation of the market is compared to the forecasts, and then how the power market evolves separately from that.
This is very reasonable, and of course it is like this. If you destroy your battery using it stupidly, you cannot expect having real revenues. And this being the point, isn't it easier or maybe smarter to use a specialized company to operate your battery and not trying to do it inside?
I mean, yes, the short answer is yes. I mean, asset management is a very specialized topic for batteries, and I think that it's important to set it right and make sure you have availability and the battery is treated in the right way. As I said earlier, I think that batteries historically have not necessarily, the early models have not performed always at its 100% as they should have. However, the technology and the warranties have evolved in such a way that I don't consider that as a big concern today.
See. Please, a word on the construction side.
On the construction side, I would say that building a battery project should be simpler than a wind or even as a solar project. It's less complexity. So of course the big topic is again around long lead items. I mean, a battery can be supplied in 5 to 6 months usually, while the transformers could take longer. So we're normally usually do order the long lead items first. The rest of the preparation, I would say, is quite standard. If you work with a good EPC, with a good ICP on the grid side, and there are a number of those in Romania, also international ones. I would say that hopefully it should work out. I personally find the financing part, which is just the step before construction, being probably one of the most difficult ones. And that comes back to the experience of the developer and how trustworthy you are in front of the banks. And I would say we've been through this process already. We've recently, it leaked into the press that we're in a very, very significant financing with IFC. And I would say having that stamp of approval means a lot to us because they see us as a very strong, credible party.
Thank you. Varinia, I think that you wanted to say something.
Just wanted to add on what Cătălin said is in Romania, at least, besides what the market is driving in terms of adding batteries co-located, on the standalone batteries, the government and the TSO will very much incentivize in the future long duration storage solutions. And as a trend, not necessarily in Romania because it's newer, but from what we see in other markets, as you said, we see the change in terms of the performance. The warranties are more like based on the performance, and they're also flexible, adjusted annually. This is a big trend according to the data because they're very closely monitored, and it's basically what you're using, how many cycles you're doing, what is the temperature and other particular conditions, so that the warranty is adjusted in that way. It's basically what you do with a battery. You want the revenue stack, you want to maximize it, you take the risk and you say, I'm okay with a higher degradation, but all of these are very much customized nowadays. So that's...
Yes, and if you do not work with a specialized company, you tend to do some things which the provider of the technology or the insurer or the bank will say, this is wrong, this is your fault. I think this is the main reason that you should think and work from the very beginning with somebody who has already done such things. I salute the presence of Elena Popescu already, and here I will let you a couple of minutes to get the vibe of the room, and then I'll invite you on the stage. We also have the opportunity to take another question from the audience. We have 2 hands raised, so the microphone for the gentleman there, please.
Thank you. Firstly, I would like to thank all the speakers regarding the Romanian energy market. We are just working as energy services company in Turkey, and we would like to step in different European countries. And we focused on the decarbonization and energy efficiency projects. But in Romania, we have contacts, we have some clients, and in some extent, they ask for renewable investments with an ESCO model that we bring our own finance. But I'm not so familiar with the regulations in Turkey, we have two basic models. One, licensed energy projects and unlicensed, which are just developed in order to offset of the clients' their own consumptions.
And they are rather small projects.
Yes, small, but the size is different. For example, we have 100 megawatts unlicensed developed projects in Turkey. My question is, in Romania, how the industrial facilities make these renewable investments in order to offset their own electricity consumption? The regulation.
Okay.
Because in Turkey, for a while, we are stuck with the capacities at the transformer stations. But what is the situation? Maybe the Turkish guys can understand me better than the foreign attendants.
I try to figure it out who of the Romanian person I know in the room might answer, but I don't know. Can you try and answer?
Yes, I think you're talking about behind the meter projects that the industry would be investing for their own consumption.
Exactly.
Yeah, so and self-consumption. We actually, so that's
Or pro-consumer.
Prosumers, or we call it CNI segment in
yes.
Romania most of the
We
time.
did see a little bit of trend. At some point, the Ministry of Energy wanted to incentivize this contract ESCO contracts. However, we haven't seen many of them implemented in Romania. But we do see a lot of behind the meter, quite a lot in terms of logistics companies or some of the manufacturing companies that have come to the conclusion that they can do, especially rooftop solar. It's very common. That we've seen that model implemented successfully. I think all of the large, like Carrefours and all of the large market retailers have done this in a simple model, like they made available the roofs or the surface, and a contractor comes in and constructs, and it's like a leasing contract structure for 12 years with a PPA included, something like that.
Yes, this is a segment that we do not cover very well today with the people from Romania in this room, but we know a lot of them working at home. So if you're interested in that, we can try to sum up some ideas. I can say a couple of words. There are no official data on how large these kind of investments are in the CNI segment. It was supposed to be until 3 years, I think, under the responsibility of the energy regulator. This energy efficiency for industry moved to the ministry, and no significant data from there. There are people whom I talk in the market who say that there are many gigawatts installed in recent years, and this power demand disappearing in the chart because of self-production. But I don't know.
There was some appetite also driven by the European funds, because we had few calls for grant funding for self-consumption.
I think, knowing both markets, we call that prosumer in Romania, this kind of a stuff. And basically, 90% of that is rooftop. However, I have seen some clients who are as well in the neighborhood of their gardens, or putting another half a megawatt, 1 or 2 megawatts on their gardens or on their piece of land. And I have seen couple of, the number is limited as well, ground-mounted prosumer projects where they put a line from the ground-mounted prosumer PV plant to the factory itself. But the DSOs, the distribution companies, are not happy with that, because it's a direct line and there's always a sort of in between. They're losing money regarding the distribution revenues. So, but 80–90% what I have seen in the last 3 years through my travel in Romania, there are more rooftop kind of solutions.
Yes, this is a very interesting topic. I think this is not the right place to tackle at the moment. We have another, please.
Merhaba. Öncelikle bütün konuşmacılara teşekkür etmek istiyorum bizi bilgilendirdikleri için. Ben özellikle sorumu Oğuzhan Kurt'a yönlendirmek istiyorum. Bize yurt dışındaki yapacağımız yatırımlarda öncülük edebileceğinizi, buradaki işte politik durumlarda yardımcı olabileceğinizi söylediniz ama bizim Romanya şirketimiz olarak Romanya'da bir yatırım planımız var. Bu konuda bize nasıl yardımcı olabilirsiniz? Yani nasıl bir öncelik gösterebilirsiniz, öncülük? Bir anahtar teslim projeler mi yapıyorsunuz? Nasıl oluyor bir iş? Açıklar mısınız?
Please, very shortly. I missed the first sentence, but please.
Yeah, now it's working. So he asked about when I'm a Turkish investor and I wanna start a company. I want to find a solar park investment in Romania. How do we start from the beginning till the end? Like how do you start the process and how do we understand that it's like a feasible project? So usually there are when you want to enter Romanian market, there is several projects. We look at their feasibility tables. Some of them, also you look at the location of these projects, because in some projects you buy the land, in some projects you rent the land. If you are buying the land, you should also look at if it's gonna be profitable land in the future. So if some of our investors bought solar park in Craiova, is very close to the central location, and probably there will be I don't know, in 10 years there will be a shopping mall in that area. So when you look at that perspective, you need to first understand the location of that area. You need to understand that how much sun is getting in that area. Because all of the Romania's locations are different, and also when you compare the feasibility of the projects, you need to look at the IRRs, internal rate of return of these projects, how much money you are gonna invest in, and if it's a bankable project. If it's bankable, probably the debt coverage ratio will be higher than 1.5, 1.6, and the bank will be giving you this credit so easily. Practically, we invite you to Romania to see the site, and we show everything there. And yeah.
Thank you for your answer. It is obviously needed a much larger.
One thing to add:
please.
KYC. 80%, 90% KYC.
Okay.
Know your customer.
Okay.
So know the people you work with. 90% are not
reliable.
Not
I would only add that we have a series of articles on this topic made with one of the companies in Romania who does this kind of job, and it might be useful to try to check the articles online, and at least the main ideas will be of some usefulness. Okay, any other question or comment for this moment? If not, I will invite Elena Popescu, or here, as you prefer, for a couple of words. I will just sum up a little bit what were the main line of conversation during the day so that you position your speech within this. It was mainly about investments. It was mainly about why renewable projects in Romania are supposed to be of some interest for the Turkish investors. We talked at some length about the opportunities in various formats in terms of targets, financing sources, and so on. And we also talked about we talked on two different directions, large projects, over 100 megawatts each, and also the smaller ones. It was not really touched the point of operation and maintenance. It was all, but was mentioned the idea that it is useful more than ever today to have the capacity of remote monitoring and controlling the asset. And I thought about it when it was the gentleman talking about it. So please choose the, okay.
Hello, merhaba. I had quite a trip to arrive here today. Really crowded in the airport. I didn't expect that. I came here in the quality of investor because we are in a panel of investors, and also in the quality of independent service provider, what Gabi was mentioning earlier about dispatching, operation and maintenance. I will start firstly with the part of investment. We currently have more than, I think, 100 megawatts of investment, new investments in Romania. Hybrid projects, wind plus storage, solar plus storage, and even a hydrogen project. So we do this business from 2009, from the beginning of Romania renewable energy market, and we developed both the investment and the service providers part according to the needs of our own purposes and of the energy market in Romania. I can also explain a bit about the technical exploitation part of our company. We currently operate more than 1.2 gigawatts of different type of assets, wind, solar, gas, hybrid, and even storage. And this puts us in the position, together with our experience, of growing better project than we did in 2009, 2012. Gives us the position of being a reliable partner, I might say, I would dare to say, for our clients, and also having a future strategy for the future that is optimized according to whatever we felt during these 15 plus years. It's just a short, brief introduction about ourselves, and I was thinking on my way from the airport here what I would say in the end of this grand event, and I will actually ask something to my colleagues from the panel, because although I can take the coat of the investor, I cannot be objective on some matters, and I would ask, what is your strategy, or what do you think when you choose a partner, a long-term partner, for the dispatching of your asset and for the operation maintenance? Why I would ask that? I take advantage of this event.
Yes, I got it very well. So
and to improve our
for 1 hour you
services.
thought, for 1 hour in the taxi you thought about how can I take the job from Gabriel? Okay.
Yes, I would take advantage. I'm sorry for that, but I cannot improve ourselves if I don't hear the other investors' opinions, because we are not the smallest, we are not the biggest companies in Romania for technical exploitation services. We are not the cheapest, and we are not the most expensive. And I dare to say that I want to have the perfect ratio, or not the perfect, to achieve the best ratio between quality and price in order to be, like I said, a reliable partner for
quite a challenge for you
clients.
on the stage. Please, let's start with Mehmet. What are you looking for? What is important for you when you're looking for such a partner?
I think it's very much related to the size. For example, in my case, we started with a small one project. So the idea in our management team was, okay, we will be building 3 similar size 5 to 10 megawatt assets with co-located BESS, and BESS as a new story, you know, how to manage commercially. And based on that, of course, the first thing what we said, okay, these 3 projects we will give to 3 different asset management companies and 3 different as well O&M providers. We are ourselves doing EPC here in Turkey, so we have as well our technical expertise of looking at them. And based on that, actually down the road, when we have the scale, we need to rethink about it, you know, how to deal with asset management. And basically in the asset management, there's a couple of things. First of all, of course, the commercial offer is very important because basically the asset manager is doing a asset-light business, you know, riding the assets of the investors. The second thing is, of course, the service, and especially for newcomers like us from Turkey to Romania, to understand system and as well as more transparent if possible. You know, we don't have a black box system. You know, we have our own asset management company in Turkey, so every system is very similar, although the country is different. These are, I think, 2-3 things that we look for going forward as expectations from our asset manager as well as O&M provider.
Thank you, thank you. Cătălin?
We're actually in the market looking for asset management services for the first battery project that will get into operations this summer. I would say that we're looking for one-stop shop so that we minimize interface risk. We're looking for experience and we're looking for scalability. I would say that there is room for improvement in the Romanian market from what we've seen. I mean, compared to Western Europe, where you have bigger players providing, having also the systems, the IT platforms and everything, we didn't find the same level of sophistication in Romania. We start to see some of the Western players coming in, but then we don't necessarily see the depth of their local bench in terms of people. So we're struggling with some of the Western companies coming in because they're too small, and then we're not finding enough sophistication on the local players. But I would say that it's evolving quite fast. We see almost every quarter the offers improving and in terms of the complexity and so on. I'm not the best person to discuss this. I have my colleague actually here with us that is our Chief Commercial Officer, so we can take it from there.
So up so far would be comparison. This is one strategy, and the other strategy would be technology. Although even if external might come for I don't know, monitoring and control software, for example, everybody has to know that they have to adjust with the local grid, which is a challenge for everything. So we are not discussing just about an IT or SCADA project. We are discussing about a grid project when integrating both energy platforms and network and monitoring and control of the assets.
I am moving to the podium to the standing gate, and this is a bad sign. It means that we are nearing the closing. But I would like to hear the answer to your question, Elena, on what you are looking for when you are analyzing a potential partner in terms of services, operation, maintenance, even though not necessary for operating the asset yourself, but as Elena explained very well in a previous conference, these kind of concerns should be taken into consideration from the very beginning when you design the project in order to have a viable project. So how do you see this part of operational maintenance in your projects? Please.
Okay, I think for PV it's easy. It's now mature technology, and the players also have a lot of track record that's measurable. When it comes to battery or hybrid systems, it's a bit more tricky.
Sorry, it's easy in the PV, and that means I take the lowest price?
Yeah, I think one thing in addition to what have been said is bankability. So whoever the counterparty should be accepted by the lender. So that's, I think, the baseline. Of course, but then you have to check the value, performance, and all the warranties. We are going through a similar process in Poland for our battery project. It's not easy. Yeah, so we are all finding out what can be the scope, what should be the, let's say, liabilities, warranties. So yeah, this is for battery. Now we probably will lean into the companies which has some balance sheet or some track record, rather than some more recent outfits. But for PV, that's now it's I think it's an easier selection process for PV. And hybrid systems it's even more tricky than standalone BESS. Then there are a lot of things, interfaces, like Cătălin said. So I would say bankability is I think the bottom line. But then we should look at the counterparty, their whatever track record they have in the business, or relevant, let's say, track record.
Thank you. Oguzhan Bey.
Thank you. So if I look from other perspective, because all of them are a really strong one, I look at the communication side of the partner. Like, they need to be fast, they need to communicate well. If there could be a problem, but I need to understand from their communication level and style that it's going to be solved in a small amount of time. That's one of the most important thing I can say about it. Yeah, that's all I want to say.
Thank you.
So we have comparison, technology, bankability / experience, and communication or transparency of the process of the activity itself. Because all together actually can be combined in just one company like ours.
Thank you.
Elena, I just wanted to highlight, recently you gave us a presentation on comparison Romania against other markets in terms of operational costs, and you highlighted some very staggering numbers on where we are and why is this a competitive advantage. I think if you can sort of make that point to the audience, maybe it's not so well known, that would be appreciated.
Yes, we discussed about the percentage of the O&M costs compared with the investment value. And it was, according to the university in USA, around 2 to 5% of the initial investment. And I was calculating whatever we have in order to get a percentage of it. And we are less than 1% in Romania, I think 0.6. I don't remember exactly the numbers. And I was also underlining a principle that is in asset management standard that 55,000, I think, is the 1-5-200 principle, that if you invest in a proper partner for the O&M, you can save 5 more costs on corrective maintenance in case the job is done properly, of course, respecting the preventive maintenance plan, respecting the communication and reacting fast to restore production, and you can save 200 more than that cost in case of large corrective, I don't know, power transformer, high voltage power transformer replacement or things like that.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing this, because it is very reasonable. It's logic that this is the case, but we need some numbers, we need some studies to put the finger on. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for this conversation, and also thank us for all the people in the first part of the day. Thank you also for the passions and for your questions. We are expected for lunch at the second floor in the hotel, Manzara restaurant. So push the 2 button on the elevator and see each other upstairs. Thank you very much.